Hey, what's going on, everybody? Max here with Because Bitcoin. And today, for 10 minutes max, we are going to be talking about the importance of zooming out. All right. I see a lot of people on the timeline right now on X panicking about local sell offs and altcoins bleeding and maybe one more pump and then that's it. Look, allow me to be the voice, the calm voice that helps guide you through this 4-hour storm of a local pullback. All right. So here is Bitcoin on the, I guess, ultra zoomed out higher time frame. I made this earlier just for the purposes of time. We're going to throw on these little phases, and then I'm also going to throw on the 4 Bitcoin halvings. All right, so I want to talk about this. So Bitcoin is doing exactly what it has always done, guys. It's doing exactly what it's always done. It just feels like it's different because we have all these news catalysts and all these local tops forming, and there's a lot of noise right now. All right, but it's doing what it's always done. Let's take a look at it all the way back to the first Bitcoin halving in 2012. We form first a global low, and then leading into the halving, we move up during this blue phase. We finally flip our bear market, or I guess previous bull market complacency shoulder, and then we get expansion. All right. Same exact thing this cycle. We're just going to go through. We form a global bottom, bear market low. We grind our way up, flip the previous bull market complacency shoulder, we get a Bitcoin halving, and then boom. All right, let's keep it moving. Same exact thing here. And this was very choppy, right? I mean, this was an abysmal time to be in the market. Global bottom formed. We move our way up, grinding up into the halving. We get a flash crash from COVID, V recovery. We finally flip the complacency shoulder. Boom. Expansion period right after the Bitcoin halving. Look at where we are at right now. All right. Bear market low. We're grinding up into the halving. We're actually a little bit ahead of schedule technically, because we are above this, previous bull market complacency shoulder before a halving, which is new. But I wouldn't really think too much into it. But the point being is we're perfectly on track with every other cycle, and if not just a little bit ahead. And now let me just remove these just to clean the chart up a little bit. I just see so much panic and fear out there, on like these little local pullbacks. And for me personally, I find it very difficult to entertain, selling everything and, taking profit, even, entertaining a global top, when we haven't even had the next Bitcoin halving. And of course, the mechanics of a Bitcoin halving are very simple, right? Roughly every 4 years, you get a Bitcoin halving. Minor block rewards get cut in half from one day to the next day. The miner block rewards get cut in half roughly every 4 years. Bitcoin miners contribute to a majority of the daily sell pressure for Bitcoin on the order books. They have to sell the Bitcoin that they mine to subsidize their business. They have to make payroll. They have to pay rent for their warehouse. They have huge operating expenses, and they need cash to do that. So they sell the commodity Bitcoin in which they are mining to free up that supply and to subsidize their business. So if demand remains constant, so from these blue zones right here, if demand remains the same as it was in these blue zones, but your biggest seller of Bitcoin on any given day now suddenly has half of the amount of Bitcoin that they had before this vertical black line. Economics 101. Demand remains constant, supply gets cut in half. What happens, guys? There's a lot of Bitcoin having deniers, oh, it doesn't matter. It matters. I mean, look at the chart. It's as clear cut and dry as it possibly can be. So here I am urging you to zoom out. We haven't even had the Bitcoin halving yet. And every single day I see people panicking over a local sell-off. And I don't mean this in an aggressive way, so don't interpret it that like that. But the best thing that could happen is that you literally cannot look at the chart for like 300 days. If you entered a coma and you woke up 300 days later and you were fully deployed right here, you'd probably be pretty happy 300 days from now when you wake up from that coma. goofy little example. I want to talk about like kind of a normie high time frame indicator as well, guys. All right. This is one that you guys should all be familiar with, but we're going to throw it on here anyways because as frustrating as it is that this thing works, it's also kind of a do not fade. All right. You can do all the TA in the world, you can understand this asset better than anybody, and you might still get outperformed by the pi cycle top indicator, and it kind of is what it is. Take it with a grain of salt, but um, if it works, you gotta go with it. So let's look at this, right? If we haven't even had the Bitcoin halving yet, typically when do we get these pi cycle tops? It's basically two moving averages, right? And when they cross, it's marked basically every single global top for Bitcoin within like a few days, except for the deviation of the last top that we had. Some would argue that wasn't even really the real top. But what I find really interesting is like, look how it lines up with the halvings, right? So let's just mark this out. Right before the Bitcoin halving, we're kind of in between the two bands. All right, and I'll uh I'll drop the shading a little bit just so we can see it, but you can see the candles are right between the two bands or the moving averages, and then you get a cross, it calls a top. Same thing. Let's move over to the next one. Right before the Bitcoin halving, we're between the two bands all the way through it. And then ultimately, after the Bitcoin halving, you get crazy expansion. Pi cycle top marks the top. All right, let's do it again here. This one it was a little goofy, right? Because we had March, but I mean, I guess even here, right after the Bitcoin halving, you're between the bands, marks the global top within a few days. I mean, look at where we're at right now. In my opinion, we're probably safe, just assuming we're going to stay between the two bands, and then after the Bitcoin halving, we'll do something that would cause the pi cycle top again to cross. So again, just an additional point of confluence that it's hard for me to entertain there seriously being, I mean, a major top for Bitcoin when we haven't even had the Bitcoin halving yet. And one other point, to mention here is I was explaining the Bitcoin halvings earlier. Why we get these parabolas after available supply on the ask side of the books gets cut in half overnight. And if demand remains constant with, the sell side pressure being cut in half effectively, um, you get these crazy, squeezes. But what we haven't considered as well is what if demand doesn't remain constant? What if demand dramatically increases? And we're seeing that in real time with the Bitcoin spot ETFs. We're seeing that in real time. One other thing that I think could be interesting to throw into the mix here would just be, typically when we see the real mania phase, what's the RSI doing? And I talked about this in a previous video, but the real euphoria doesn't truly begin until Bitcoin closes, and monthly RSI gets over 70. That's when like the real bubble happens. All right. So let's mark out when Bitcoin monthly RSI has gotten over 70. Let's see. Let's mark it out right there. We're a week away from that happening. The March candle should bring that in. So again, we haven't even reached our, historical mania phase where, Bitcoin just goes absolutely nuts. And that would be Bitcoin RSI up here, into the 70 region. And we just simply haven't gotten that yet. So I'm not seeing signs of a global top forming yet at all. I'm seeing bullish chop. I'm seeing demand, really just creeping up. And the bid is remaining constant, and yeah, your altcoins will bleed, at this point in the market cycle. Like a lot of them have had good runs, but my opinion, we are on the cusp of entering, the real fun. And I see a lot of people overcomplicating it. And I'm gonna throw this on here one more time. We are doing what we have always done for Bitcoin right here, guys. Right before a Bitcoin halving, we grind up, we chop up, you get lower time frame shakeouts. After the halving, things go crazy, you know. So stay humble, stay focused. But that was 10 minutes, guys. Thanks so much for being here. Before you go, please like and subscribe. This is 10 Minutes Max brought to you by Because Bitcoin. My name is Max. I'm the CEO of Because Bitcoin. Additionally, check out the first link in the description below. It will take you to our website where you can browse our premium services and also read reviews. Right now, to join the premium Discord, it's $149.99 per month, so $5 per day effectively. We do 2 hours a day of private live voice calls. I and the rest of the Because Bitcoin team, we share all of our active positions and premium analysis that we don't talk about here on YouTube or on X. So consider signing up. It will definitely be worth the money. It will take your trading to the next level. And again, get in while you can, because right around the Bitcoin halving, we are dropping our new flagship product called the BB Terminal. It's basically a Bloomberg terminal, but for crypto people. It will absolutely change how you view the markets from a day-to-day and even longer time frame basis. It is a tool you're going to want to use. That will be bundled together with the Discord. Prices are going to go up dramatically. So if you want to get in right now and be grandfathered in at the current price for life and also get early access to the BB terminal, consider checking out the first link in the description below and signing up sooner rather than later. But guys, that's it. Thanks so much for being here. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you Monday. Today's Friday, so see you Monday. Take care, guys.